Stories online being dominated by the national security again. Barely a month after that, I can call it uncultured raid on Ken Ofori-Attah's house. It's happened again, led by the same person. So the question is, why is this happening? Or why does this keep happening? What's the justification for going to a man's house in the morning with 20 armed men? A man with no known history of violence. A man with no publicly known behavior of resisting arrest or uncooperation. A man who served his country as a governor. You may disagree with his policies, but for me, to go to a man like that's house with 20 armed men sends many messages that we are in power, we can do what we want. That's wrong. That's number one. Number two, the fact that they haven't even bothered to issue a statement to explain what they did, I believe is impunity. To get up and just go to somebody's house because you are in power and you have guns doesn't make sense. Number three, you are discouraging well-meaning people from serving their country because another government will come and do the same thing. So if you have, and I'm not saying Mr. Addison should not be touched. That's not the point I'm making. There are ways of going about these things. Now, Mr. Mahama said he's coming to do a reset. This is very crude. If the report we are seeing is correct, 20 armed men enter Mr. Addison's house, disable his CCTV camera, remove it on the basis that they are looking for something. Have you announced that the man should come and he hasn't come? Have you announced that he's taking something that he has not been taking? Do you understand what I'm saying? Is there a court process? If you are doing an investigation, do you have to go to his house with gun-wielding people? And if the report we read is to be true, that they said they were looking for some vault, honestly, you get it? Let's put politics aside. The problem with Ghana is that somebody will start pointing you to, well, somebody was arrested on his way to church, so it's time to do this. If you run the country on the basis of what angry party supporters think, nobody will be alive. Common sense must prevail. In fact, when the majority leader apologized to the finance minister for the raid in his house, foot soldiers came after him. And because of this has happened. Who will be next? You get me? I think that we have to be very clear. People didn't queue to go and vote for President Muhammad to come and have his national security people behave like this. If you are looking for Dr. Addison, invite him for a meeting. If you want to arrest him, arrest him. If you want to investigate his house, why do you need 20 armed men? Do you get it? Is he like some rebel leader with some guns in his house who's going to fight back? What message are you sending by sending 20, even 10? CID people don't even wear uniform. Some of the highest investigators don't need guns. So what is it? What is it? Why isn't national security explaining itself to us? Aren't you the ones who pay them? I don't see what they are trying to achieve.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The last one with Mr. Ofori-Attah's house, did we ever get a statement on that? Or what we got was the apology from the majority leader? An apology which
did not even go down well with some people in his party. But what we saw was that it was discussed in Parliament. And then in fact, when that matter came up, I think some people raised who was Jakba in this whole thing. And I think within the next day, it was then announced that he was head of some
special operations or something.
So which means that prior to that, we didn't even know publicly what he was.
Yeah. So we never got a statement.
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
Not,
did you ever see a statement?
I haven't seen a statement. Did you see a statement on Ken Ofori-Attah's
the
raid? No. So I didn't see.
Did you see a statement? I'm just asking. Maybe we've missed it because we can miss sometimes.
The national security establishment seems to believe that they operate by a different set of rules. You see, and if you are in a democracy that you have chosen to run, we are all what we are because of the law. So there are laws that regulate what we do. I don't know all the laws, but I'm just looking at it from a common sense perspective. What is to be gained from doing what you just did? Even the government that you say you are working for, I don't think they are happy with this approach. Do you understand what I'm saying? You see, when you listen to the debate in Parliament, there are lots of people who disagree with how the central bank was run. But there are technical, legal, and financial ways of dealing with that. Do you understand? But going to a man's house with 20 gun-wielding soldiers, apart from a show of we are in power, we can do what we like, I don't see what purpose it serves. Number two, it will begin to define the character of the government if the government doesn't rein him in. Because I listen to President Mahama, I go to programs, I hear him talk, I look at his posture. He's trying to come up with a certain, what do you call it? A certain posture of governance. That we are in a new era, rule of law. We will not tolerate impunity. We will not let people who misbehave go scot-free. So we are not saying that the fact that people shouldn't be prosecuted. But the way of doing it, I don't think he will endorse it. Even in opposition. Do you get it? So for me, some people have not yet smelled the coffee. They are misinterpreting the mandate. They think that because 2/3 majority means you can do anything. No. People are saying we're so unhappy with the previous government for impunity. We didn't vote for new impunity. Do you get it? So I feel like people they say, oh, Charlie, right now there we have power, we can do it. No. And the other thing is that goodwill can be eroded faster than it is gained. It took Mahama 8 years in opposition to get the kind of thing he got. Somebody can spoil it in 1 month. And if NDC people are listening to this program, they need to begin to act quickly, because this type of thing is not going to say. And this is another thing. I don't know whether they think that because people were so hurt by the financial sector that they would need to see some public humiliation of those who were running the sector. That's not how it works. There are legal ways of going about it. That's why we say we are one nation under the rule of law. We are not under rule of guns or rule of emotions. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if no matter how virulently you disagree with somebody, there's a way of going about seeking redress. And national security should not be about gun-toting. Do you understand my point? I don't understand it. There are places where people are under attack by robberies, insurgents. We need guns there, not in the Roman Ridge house of the former governor. Do you see where I'm going? Like, I don't understand the point. And it, for me, it's a complete misunderstanding of where we are as a nation and the mood of the nation. And the thing is that politicians always send us on edge. We've just come from a very traumatic few years. Election was very difficult for everybody. There's a new government. You should listen to the president talking to his appointees about how if they don't perform, he will sack them. He needs to call his national security point to order and say, look, what are you doing? Okay, now I'm saying all of this not having heard the official position of national security. Once your name is in the news for such an action, what you need to do is to issue a statement to tell us, did it actually happen the way it is reported? But to the extent that the Kenofriata one was not denied over a month ago, it's very clear that this one, and again, the detailed report that was given, the photograph that was taken, minority leader is in the house of the governor, former governor. So clearly something did happen. We may not have the full details, but this is the point I'm making. This is not how it's supposed to be done. And I don't need to be a security expert to know. This is not how it's supposed to be done. You've studied international relations, you've studied a bit of this. Even of course, I know that the national security laws give some leeway to searches without warrants. I admit that. So there are certain categories of things that can allow people. So for example, if you know somebody is doing something very evil in a place, let's assume they have taken underage
human trafficking.
Yes, or they are molesting people. You don't need that. You can go and do what you have to do. You get, and that one will support you because you are saving lives. But my question is, somebody sitting at home with his wife and children. I mean, what is the point of going with soldiers to go to their, for what? Have you asked him to come and he has not come? Have you said you search his house or if he's been hiding something and you want to go, do you need 20 gun holding men to do what? Do you see my point? Is he protected by some soldiers that you have to fight?
They say he had security, but we don't know.
But if he has security, that's probably state security, which is under your control.
I don't even know if it's state. It might even be security.
Guys, you see, for me, this is my issue with Ghanaians. Let's put the nation's interest ahead of all our partisan sentiments. Because yesterday we were told that partisanship was destroying free SHS. It will destroy the country. Budget debate is partisan. Now discussion of national security too is going to be partisan. So when you were born, were you like, I don't understand, like, why can't people simply see that there are certain things that people do that is just not right, that we need to place the country's interest at the heart of everything we do? I don't know the commentary you are reading, whether it's partisan, but I'm sure there are people who defend this and there are people who condemn it. Some on partisan, some on nationalistic.
I mean, it's a mix. So I think a lot, generally, the more common sentiment is that this is not the way, because you see comments like, "Hey, what sort of AE is this? How can you be doing this? Are we in a banana republic?" These are the type of things I'm reading. So, and then you have other people who say, we don't like, okay, they are arresting criminals. Addison printed 60 million illegally. Should he not be arrested?
But what kind of logic is that?
No, and that's the point.
Okay, what law? On what law? Printed money and et. Do they even understand what it means to print money? And if somebody printed money and the macroeconomy is destabilized, when the finance minister read the budget, did he call for Addison's arrest? Do you know more about economics than the finance minister? When we went to the national economic forum, did anybody say Addison should be arrested? He was even there to contribute to national discourse. Why wasn't he arrested there?
Yeah, and like you said, when you are
let's not use reasons we don't understand to just justify things.
Well, you mentioned the goodwill being eroded, and I think you're absolutely right.
Quickly.
I've seen a lot of people talking about the NDC, saying that this government is failing, that they've not started well, and I have to say I agree with you, because like you said, it's been 3 months,
60 something days.
Honestly, I think this happening twice. If it happens a third time,
honestly, and this I keep saying that they are misinterpreting the mandate. And I think MPP did the same thing as well. It's like, 2016, NDC will never come to power. Mahama, Charlie, they did Panchidada, blah, 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 blah. Did all the things they did. And the result was what we saw in 2024. Now they are on radio talking. NDC has a mandate to govern. Mahama, and you see, this is what even worries me. If you listen to the president and the way he's talking, yesterday when I was interviewing Pesa White, we actually read the statement Mahama issued to SOEs. Very serious. Like warnings and things, you get it? And then 2 days later, somebody just goes to do this. Another week, somebody goes to do something. I'm like, you can't control everything. But there are certain things in Ghana we are sensitive about because of our military past. This issue of raiding people's homes and things, we are very sensitive about it. You get it? If you look at the killing of the judges, that thing is very traumatic for Ghanaians. So you cannot go to a man's house, especially not, and it's not like some Ataikan criminal who's being looked for, who has been terrorizing people. Do you get it? This is like, so if somebody now tells you to go and become governor one day, and you see what's even happening. So now the new governor, he himself, he was a victim of certain court things, and now he's gone through. So, and you see, we are not saying that people are above the law, but some jobs are highly technocratic and difficult to get good people to do. So the picture you are painting, meanwhile, there are people who have done probably worse things in the previous government who are still working free anyway. So I don't understand the idea around soldiers going to a former governor's house. I don't get it.
And the worst part is they disabled the CCTV so we wouldn't see like the last time.
If you have nothing to hide, why are you disabling the CCTV?
I'm wondering, why would you do that?
Look, there has to be a clear statement, and this is the other problem. We don't have a Ministry of National Security.
They say it's under the Interior Ministry, and the Interior Minister is the de facto National Security Minister.
Well, this is
what they've said.
I suggest that the parliamentarians list some questions for him today or tomorrow, so that when Muntaka goes to Parliament today or tomorrow, he's made to answer questions around the two incidents for clarity's sake, because I think that's the way to do it, since he's the minister in charge. You get it? Because I mean, I don't see how any of us, I don't see how the country benefits from this. And it's even distracting us from more important issues. Here we are talking about education, the way to go about free SHS. Cholera, 3,000 cases, 19 dead. Galamsey, minister trying to do one or two things. Yeah. You are training guards to go and fight Galamsey wearing white t-shirt and blue trouser. If you have people with guns, send them to the 2 remaining forest reserves, because the minister said he's reclaimed 7 out of 9. So the other 2 that the people are doing Galamsey, why won't you go there and go and fight the people? And you have trained people that they should do pili and go and fight Galamsey as water guard. If you have people with guns, why would you go and fight Galamsey? Do you see my point? Like, and you are like, what is this?
These are parts of the reasons people are even starting to get upset, because people are feeling, first of all, people are starting to feel like the Galamsey thing has slowed down. There's not enough action. and then you see something like this where it's like
it's almost like governments conspire to destroy themselves. I mean, unless there's a certain logic in the way politicians behave that I have not learnt yet. You know, like maybe there's some Machiavellian or some higher reasoning. But from a very normal sense of view, I don't see how this is beneficial to anybody. You studied a bit of this, so you may help me. But me, I don't understand.
I mean, that's why I'm listening to you, and
you know, sometimes there are some deeper reasons,
Bernard,
or some intelligence information that we don't have.
A month ago, you and I had an extensive conversation about national security.
Mm-hmm.
A month ago, and I spoke that day about the need to have clarity on its processes. I do not still understand why in the year 2025, in a country that considers itself a blueprint for democratic practice, at least on this continent, we still want to have conversations about or create a security entity or a security infrastructure that is opaque and create a myth of fear around that institution simply because it is an intelligence institution. That by itself is not intelligent. There's nothing intelligent about that kind of construct. So I get bothered particularly because I was aware about 3 or 4 years ago of attempts to make the NIB a very public-facing institution, although it deals with intelligence. There were attempts to put itself out there so that it would demystify its activities.
It's not even why they changed the name.
General populace about what it is it does. So when we had this conversation a month ago and I raised these issues that look, the way the NIB operates, citizens must understand that the way in which the NIB comes for Bernard Avle is the same way the NIB must come for Susu. It's the same way it must come for Godfred Akoto-Boafo. And the citizens must know these things because, why? When it happens, there are also legal recourses for the citizens.
Exactly. Yes,
so if the NIB does A, I as a citizen know that I will do what? B. Or I will do C.
Yeah.
On the matter of warrants, if you look at the Security Agencies and Intelligence Act 2020, for instance, it states pretty clearly what you are supposed to do when you are looking for a warrant. Now, this is important because the fact that you are an intelligence gathering entity does not mean that there is no oversight.
Good.
And for some reason, we have oriented ourselves as a citizenry, perhaps based on our history from the 70s, 80s, even from the 60s, when we set up our intelligence agencies, or we set up, the Indians helped us to set up our intelligence infrastructure. Up to this point, we have created a certain thinking, a certain orientation that intelligence units are not supposed to be supervised.
They are above the law.
They are above the law. It doesn't exist anywhere. If they were above the law, there would not have been an act that dictates what they do.
They were set up by an act. So they don't exist. They are not God.
You understand? So it is up to the people who have that oversight to enforce that oversight, including senior management. So by this, you mentioned Muntaka.
Minister of Interior.
By this, you mean the National Security Coordinator.
Yes.
By this, you mean
the head of NIB.
The head of NIB himself.
Yeah.
By this, you mean Parliament and its committees.
Committee on Security.
You see, because what happens is this. When I asked about the Alaji incident.
Yes, the
raid.
The gold.
Yes. 12 containers were discovered. They told us they were looking for 2 more at the point. This wasn't in an official statement. we came on air and said the size of this endeavor is such that you need to inform the general public about what it is you want to do.
Exactly.
What you found. What is the next step? It is not a regular police investigation. You don't even need to provide other things.
Yeah.
But as an institution, tell us
For
this.
such a high profile thing.
The second one was the Kenofoyata one. After it is done, what were you looking for? Or even if you're not looking for anything, tell the people that, look, based on A, B, C, D, we went here to do this. We found this. We will keep you updated. You see, because what happens is normally in places where there is best practice, oversight means that at the end of perhaps even the year, a parliamentary committee will have access to the reports of the NIB and say, okay, so you people said you were looking for Alaji. What was the status of that search for Alaji?
Yeah.
You people went to look for Kenofoyata. What was the status of that particular investigation? How has it evolved? Okay, there's an allegation that you visited the home of Dr. Addison. What was the status of that? You understand? So that those are the representatives of the people who then also get a clear understanding of what exactly it is you have been doing. You do not want a construct where investigations are supposedly ongoing, but there is never an update on those investigations. We don't know how they evolve and somehow just disappear.
Yeah.
But the repercussions of those investigations publicly for the persons who are involved on the other side, reputations are tarnished. They have no opportunity to redeem themselves because they can't even go to court. What will be the basis of going to court? There's trauma and distress.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm sitting in my house minding my business. I don't live in an army barracks. I'm not a drug lord. I am not anything. I run the Bank of Ghana.
I don't even know if you've invited me.
You've invited me or something. I am there. 20 men allegedly in balaclavas raid my house. I could even get a heart attack and die.
It's serious.
What will you say? You will say that, oh, we visited the house and the man died?
You know, it's a serious point.
You understand? That is why oversight is required.
Yeah.
That is why there is a certain room where we must act. They must ask themselves, these acts that we are undertaking, are they legal? Are they proper? Are they effective?
Correct.
Are they efficient?
Very good.
If you cannot answer these 4 questions for every process or every action you undertake as a national intelligence construct, there is a problem.
Yep.
So by all means, the national intelligence operations must work. But we must also understand that as an evolving democracy, as a growing democracy, this opaque construct that we are allowing to perpetuate acts of fear and terror amongst regular citizens because I don't know how a lot of citizens who were not even born in the generation of military rule, some way, somehow, still accept
this type of thing,
that a national security entity is supposed to behave this way. And so when you criticize it, they say you don't know what you're talking about. Hey, child, it is national security. Come and arrest me.
National security is the reason why even at the ports there were issues with revenue collection, because it was so much abused that you go to the port and beyond the regular customs things you have to do, you will see some people in glasses say they are national security. They want to search you. And it was leading to so many problems at the port. So it needs to be reined in and supervised.
You understand? So the people who have that remit owe it to themselves, owe it to the National Intelligence Service itself, and owe it to the citizens. You see, because if you look at the history of our national security construct, basically saw citizens as subjects. In the year 2025, we cannot allow that same construct to see citizenry as subjects. We are not to be coerced. No. That is why we are citizens.
Yeah.
And that orientation somehow must change. So again, by all means, go on your operations. And you see, the reason somebody will say, what is the basis of this early morning criticism? Because Assassin reported, or because Apenyo Malkin has tweeted, or because this. You leave room for that kind of conversation because you do not communicate your actions.
Thank you.
You leave room for that because if you had sought a warrant, there is a judge who will justify what you have gone to do, which is what the law says you must do.
So there's actually a law covering this.
If you go to the act that sets you up, Act 1030, Security and Intelligence Agencies Act 2020, application for warrant, subsection 34.
Oh, it's there.
It is there, 34, 35. It outlines what you must do. Although I still believe that the law is deficient in the sense that it does not allow what it sets out as protection for citizens once you feel you have your rights have been violated by the security or intelligence agencies. It's pretty steep. It's a pretty steep mark to make to get that tribunal to sit.
So it's almost like they are making it almost impossible
for you to seek redress. Okay, but the national security must communicate better its actions and understand that there are ways to go about this. When I spoke about this again a month ago, Bernard, I spoke about the father look, and you make the point beautifully. If you are chasing this, if this is how we would look for documents in Dr. Addison's house. Hey, then the day we discover who the Galamsey kingpin or queenpin in Ghana is, we will take the whole barracks there. We will take a whole barracks. If that day, we will take the whole barracks to that person's house to find that person. If this is how we look, you see, because that's what I'm making, the point I'm making. If you are going to is he a technocrat or a bureaucrat? Which one is Dr. Addison?
I don't even know. One of them.
Maybe it's both.
Or whoever it is. Even if the national security says they are coming for me, let's put Dr. Addison aside. They say they are coming for me. Based on what it is that I am supposed to have done. Either I'm supposed to be invited, I will show up with my lawyer.
Or picked up,
whichever way. But at least I must understand what process I am being put through.
Yeah.
I can ask, can I bring my lawyer? Okay, you are searching my house. Can I call my lawyer to come whilst you are searching?
Yeah.
What does that stop? What does that kill?
Yeah.
Is that not part of my rights? Because there is no part of this law that throws away the rights of the citizen. Security and Intelligence Agencies Act 2020, Act 1030, Act 1030. There is no part of it that throws away the rights of the citizen. Anywhere.
It's a very, very big problem.
So the intelligence service must evolve with the times.
Yeah.
Okay. It must. I think that it must become. It was on this. I don't know whether I could say it was on this way to being a sophisticated outfit, because it does have elements that are pretty sophisticated in their approach to work. So I won't make general statements. I know a lot of people who work in that institution. Okay. But it needs to understand that public perception of intelligence operations is very important to perception of the government itself. You see? Because you cannot say you are a democratic government and then on the other half of the coin there is an organization that works under this so-called democratic organization that is allowed to run roughshod over citizens without
due recourse to law,
due
process,
without any kind of being reined in. It does what it wants simply because it is under the guise of national security. That is not proper. So again, I reiterate, by all means, carry out your investigations. By all means, recover the loot, as you want to call it. By all means, find whoever it is. But let us not use this method of, as you beautifully put it again, I will show you where power lies. I will embarrass you. Yes, you can embarrass me, but what if I am a person without shame? Would that put me in prison? Would that get back what you are looking for? Okay, you've embarrassed me, you've raided my house. I will still chop the money anyway. Find legal ways of doing this. And look, address the public on these matters. The things that you are investigating are not above us. Eventually, these matters will end up in court.
That's essentially where it will end up.
It will end up in court. You cannot, because here's the thing. The national security cannot jail you simply because he wants to jail you.
You have to still go through court.
You have to go to the court
Well,
anyway.
isn't it better to start the legal way?
So go legal.
So that we will know that whatever process you go through is consistent.
Okay, so let's look at a scenario. Reportedly, CCTV cameras have been disabled. And from where I sit, obviously looks like a lesson learned from the Kenofurata operation because images were shared. So you've gone to touch somebody's CCTV camera. You go to a court of law to prosecute this person. And the person says, oh, during the time of the raid, there was ABCD here. You have disabled the CCTV camera.
Yeah. So how are you even?
How are you even justifying these things, even for your own self?
Yeah. It's a big problem.
Okay, let's get back to the world of democratic modernity.
Thank you.
It is the path we have decided to set on. It does not exclude any institution that operates in a democracy.
All of us are under the law.
We are under the law. Do what you have to do, but do it lawfully.